Cheers. Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we are talking about the latest studio album from Russian deathcore crew To Prevail, entitled GRIZZLY. To Prevail is almost inarguably the biggest and most popular deathcore band active right now. They have more monthly listeners and followers across all music streaming and social media platforms than the likes of Suicide Silence, Whitechapel, Carnifex, and Lorna Shore. They are also simultaneously one of the most divisive and controversial deathcore bands active right now. Frontman Alex Terrible, in particular, has a fairly well-documented history of making homophobic, transphobic, and sexist remarks and covering them up under the guise of just wanting to be true, just wanting to be a man, a real, honest, macho, brutal man. He also has a weird history of allegedly being a neo-Nazi. At bare minimum, he seems sympathetic to neo-Nazis and the neo-Nazi cause. He once had a black sun tattoo, which he has since covered up. He's openly talked, quite recently in fact, about hanging out with neo-Nazis, being friends with neo-Nazis, not really caring that they were neo-Nazis. And though he insists on American social media that he is not himself a neo-Nazi, statements pulled from Russian social media many a year ago have Alex Terrible admitting that he cannot share his real political beliefs with the world because it could possibly jeopardize his chances of being a big famous rock star in the United States and North America. Huh. Fascinating. Neat. Cool. And contrary to what at least a few people in the comment section below would have you believe, I don't bring this up in an attempt to make things woke or political. I'm not trying to force any kind of politically correct agenda down your throat. I'm not trying to get you lived up Brian Tyler Cohen style and convince y'all that we need to band together and cancel the dreaded Alex Terrible. I'm bringing this up because I think it's genuinely relevant to the discussion of To Prevail and their music and their brand and how they do things. See, To Prevail and Alex Terrible are extremely unapologetic. Everything that they say and do, or more specifically, everything they don't say and don't do, is done to embolden the image they've concocted for themselves. Both the personal philosophy of Alex the Terrible and the artistic identity of To Prevail revolve around, more so than literally anything else, strength. To admit that you've made a mistake is to show weakness. This is why, whenever Alex has been called out for his weird and arguably offensive comments and behavior and rhetoric, he has very often responded with, "I'm not a bigot. I'm a big, strong, honest man, and you're weak and just can't handle me." And I feel that GRIZZLY is the ultimate sonic manifestation of exactly this mindset, because I cannot think of another metal album in recent memory that has been as obsessed with proving how big and brutal and strong it is than GRIZZLY. Now, unlike Alex Terrible's personal beliefs, this is not necessarily a bad thing. This is deathcore, after all, a genre renowned for its mind-numbing brutality, for big, ballsy breakdowns and beatdowns and punishing riffs and menacing guttural vocals and acrobatics. Why not? Fuck it. As far as most deathcore fans are concerned, the bigger, the brutal, the stronger, the better. But, for me, at a certain point, it starts to get a little obnoxious and, dare I even say, pretentious. The band is trying so hard to prove how big and brutal and strong they are that they eventually just forget to write compelling songs. Now, there are some people, some critics, some outlets, some of my peers, even, who would have you believe that To Prevail is flexing as much creative muscle as they are physical muscle on this album. I respectfully disagree. with those people, with those outlets, with my peers. I concede that there are moments that hint towards grander ambitions, but that's really all it is. A hint. But hey, fuck it. A hint is better than nothing. Getting an appetizer instead of a main course still means you ate, so fuck it. I'll take what I can get. I can appreciate diving into Russian folklore on something like Babaika. I can appreciate the band showing a little bit more urgency and going into more provocative, sensitive territory on closing number 1984, which is a direct response to the ongoing war in Ukraine. Alex Terrible also experiments with clean vocals across the album. Interestingly, on Viking, he takes this deep, epic, kind of roaring, clean vocal tone that really does kind of make him sound like a Viking general or something like that. And I will give genuine actual props to Rodina for going in a more theatrical, almost kind of symphonic folk metal ballad kind of route. It's a very different sound and vibe for Slaughter to Prevail, and I gotta be honest, it almost works. I'm unironically praising Slaughter to Prevail right now. Bravo. No bullshit. Decent job. But aside from that, the vast majority of GRIZZLY is more of the same nu metal-esque brutal deathcore that we had on 2021's Costalum. Opening number Bandidos reeks of Iowa-era Slipknot vibes and is filled with big slammy grooves and beats and menacing guttural onslaughts and such, and I'm not gonna lie, it's fun for at least a hot minute, like a hot little minute here and there, but the song's lack of cohesion and balance and, you know, its desire to just kind of like bounce around and jump around from section to section ultimately just kind of makes it sound like a bunch of teenagers jamming and hyping each other the fuck up. Following number, Russian GRIZZLY in America, is better overall because it's tighter and it does feel like it has a better overall kind of flow to it, though I'm really turned off by the opening call of like, it's gonna get so fucking brutal, which again just feels really juvenile and kind of try-hard to me. Then there's Lift That Shit, which just reeks of like big toxic gym bro vibes. I remember a couple of months ago, Heavy Metal Philosophy did a video kind of examining how like fitness culture is so similar to like deathcore culture, and I mean like, the song does a really great job at proving his fucking argument. And oh wow, the song Behelit has strings and choral vocals and references the anime and manga Berserk? Wow, I've never seen a deathcore band do that before. So new, so different. Speaking of anime and manga, there is a collaborative number called Song 3 featuring J-pop metal hybrid crew Baby Metal, which unironically sounds like if Slipknot tried to do the theme for Death Note. I don't hate it, it's fine, but I've definitely heard way better, way catchier, way bigger stuff from Baby Metal. And speaking of collabs, the one and only Ronnie Radke of Falling in Reverse fame also shows up on the cut I'm Dead, which at first, I'm not really hating. In fact, I'm kind of fucking with it. Like, the mix of, like, angsty, edgy nu metal and, like, brutal deathcore, you know, it taps into that, like, late 90s, early 2000s Korn kind of Slipknot shit. It also kind of reminds me of, like, when Jonathan Davis collabed with Suicide Silence on the Black Crown album. But it doesn't take long for shit to just get fucking goofy and cringe as all holy hell. Like, there's a section later on in the cut that's, I swear to fucking God, sounds like something ripped from fucking Nightmare Before Christmas. There's a place that we go when we all die, and it's hotter than you think, and it's not up in the sky. This is Halloween, this is Halloween, 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 ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Get that goofy fucking nonsense out of here. Fuck off. Cringe. There's honestly so many other supremely goofy moments here too, like Alex screaming out, "I'm so full of fucking hatred" on Conflict, and then like what sounds like Alex just kind of screaming into like a metal fan right before the breakdown of Kid of Darkness. And all across the record too, an abundance of squealing guitars and pinch harmonics that would even have Zakk Wylde blushing. Also, quite possibly the most over-the-top, overdone vocal performance in deathcore history. Everybody owes Will Ramos from Lorna Shore a motherfucking apology right goddamn now. There is so much going on vocally, so many barking vocals, deep, low, menacing gutturals, those kind of like rolling alligator growls that are like iconic to the Slaughter to Prevail sound, plus clean vocals and, you know, all these different kind of like chanting sections, and it's all layered and thrown on top of each other and produced and presented in such a manic, chaotic fucking form. Like, it's just an incomprehensible blur of fucking vocal nonsense. I swear to God, if you told me that there was like a fucking oral gangbang in the studio at one point, I'd fucking believe you. Mr. Terrible, if you're somehow unfamiliar with the phrase, sometimes less is more, allow me to make you familiar with that phrase. Ahem. Sometimes less is more. Hope that helps. Honestly, this is a 1 out of 5 for me. Yeah, I appreciate some of the grander ambitions that are hinted at here and there, that are teased here and there. Rodina, I think, is a genuinely pretty interesting cut, and there are undeniably sick, gnarly riffs all across the board that will satisfy people that just want to listen to sick, gnarly riffs. But just like how we can't judge a movie from a few frames, or a book from a few words, we cannot judge an album from a few moments that almost kind of work. We have to look at everything, the whole picture, and the whole picture, for me, just doesn't really work. Now maybe, just maybe, if Slaughter to Prevail were willing to put the same amount of energy and effort into writing unique and compelling songs that they already put into maintaining the bravado, the muscle, the power, the philosophy and identity of Slaughter to Prevail, maybe this would be a different kind of video. But in order for Slaughter to Prevail to do that, they would have to change. They would have to compromise everything that currently makes them who they are. They would have to be willing to do something that is more than just being big, brutal, and strong. And in doing so, they'd have to admit, even if just amongst themselves, that they've made a mistake. They'd have to be willing to show weakness. And they can't do that. Because as we've already discussed, nothing is more important to the band than strength. They would rather make a shitty album that looks strong than a good album that could be perceived as being weak. But hey, what the fuck do I know? I'm just some guy on the internet with the only negative review in a sea of glowing, overwhelmingly positive ones. If people like this, if I truly am in the minority, so fucking be it. Not the first time, won't be the last, whatever. For me, 1 out of 5, terrible, not a fan, yikes. Yeah, that's it, I guess. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I am not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.